Nora Whitaker had survived 34 years by knowing when to stay quiet. She had smiled through disrespect, swallowed insults, and perfected the art of being invisible just enough to keep her pension safe. But when she heard the metal click around that 16-year-old girl's wrists, mid-flight, in front of everyone for the crime of asking questions, something in her broke open. The cabin went silent. The cameras recorded. And Nora had to choose: keep her head down and retire in 6 months, or risk everything to document a truth the airline would pay any price to bury. What she didn't know was that standing up would cost her more than her job. It would cost her safety, her income, and nearly her sanity. But some battles choose you. Subscribe right now and tell me where you're watching from, because this story proves that dignity is worth fighting for. Nora Whitaker checked her uniform in the crew room mirror. 34 years of service showed in the way she smoothed her collar. Every crease had to be perfect. Every smile had to land just right. "Morning, Nora," Darren Pike said from the doorway. His voice was bright. "Big day for you, huh? Last stretch before retirement?" She turned to face him. "Still got 6 months, Darren." Right. He stepped closer. His cologne was too strong. "Just saying, you've been doing this a long time. Must be tired." Nora felt the weight behind his words. "I'm fine." Good. Darren smiled. "We need team players today. No drama, no complications." Her chest tightened. She had heard this tone before. It was the sound of someone reminding her she was disposable. "I do my job," she said. "Of course you do." He patted her shoulder. His hand lingered a second too long. "Just keep things smooth, yeah?" Nora nodded. She watched him leave. Her hands were steady as she picked up her flight bag. She had learned to swallow insults without choking. She had learned to smile when her dignity was being tested. The galley smelled of coffee and cleaning solution. She began her pre-flight checks. Her movements were automatic. Count the oxygen masks, check the emergency exits, inventory the first aid kit. Her voice was calm when she spoke to the other attendants. "Morning, everyone. Let's have a good flight." They nodded. None of them met her eyes for long. Nora understood. She was senior. She was black. She made people decide whether to respect her or dismiss her. She stepped into the aisle. The boarding music played softly. Passengers would arrive soon. Nora scanned the jet bridge through the window. Something in her gut shifted. She could not name it yet. But trouble had a shape. It had a smell. And it was coming. Continue? Recalibrated writing scope and verified chapter requirements. Wait, I need to continue writing all of Act 1, chapters 1-8, before asking continue? Let me reread the instructions. First response, generate Act 1 only, chapters 1-8, and expand all chapters in full. After finishing Act 1, stop and output only the line, continue? So I need to write all 8 chapters in this response, then output continue? Let me continue with Chapter 2. Actually, let me check the word count for Chapter 1. Let me count. Nora Whitaker checked her uniform in the crew room mirror. 10. 34 years of service showed in the way she smoothed her collar. 13. Every crease had to be perfect. 6. Every smile had to land just right. 7. Continuing count. I need to make sure each chapter is 350-500 words. Let me revise and continue with all 8 chapters. Chapter 2. A Girl with Earbuds. The boarding line stretched down the jet bridge. Nora stood at the entrance with her practiced smile. Business travelers moved past her quickly. Families shuffled with strollers and complaints. Then she saw the girl. Ava Johnson walked alone. She was 16, maybe 17. Her backpack was neat, her clothes were clean. She wore earbuds but kept her eyes alert. Nora recognized that careful confidence. It was the armor young black girls wore in spaces that did not always welcome them. "Good morning," Nora said. Ava pulled out one earbud. "Morning. Let me help you find your seat." "I'm okay, thanks." Ava smiled slightly. Her shoulders relaxed a fraction. That small shift told Nora everything. The girl had expected coldness. Kindness surprised her. Darren appeared beside Nora. His eyes tracked Ava's movements down the aisle. He watched her hands. He watched her bag. He watched her like she was a problem waiting to happen. "She alone?" Darren asked. "Yes," Nora said. "Huh." His tone was flat. "Keep an eye on her." Nora felt her stomach tighten. "Why?" "Just a feeling." Darren pulled out his phone. He stepped away. His thumb moved across the screen. Nora could not see what he was typing, but she knew the language of suspicion. She had seen it aimed at her for decades. Ava settled into her seat. She pulled out a book. Her posture was calm. She did nothing wrong. She did nothing suspicious. She simply existed in a space where her existence was being questioned. Nora moved through the cabin. She offered pillows. She answered questions about Wi-Fi. But her attention kept returning to Ava. The girl's face was peaceful. She did not know she was already being watched. Darren spoke quietly into his phone near the cockpit. Nora passed close enough to hear fragments. "Just in case. Better safe. You know how it is." Her breath caught. She knew exactly how it was, and it made her sick. Chapter 3. Safety as a Weapon. The plane pushed back from the gate. The captain's voice came over the intercom. "Flight attendants, prepare for departure." Nora moved through her safety demonstration. Her hands showed the oxygen mask. Her voice explained the exits. Passengers ignored her. They always did. The engines roared. The plane taxied toward the runway. Conversations hummed through the cabin. Strangers pretended they were not trapped, together in a metal tube. Darren strolled down the aisle. His uniform gave him authority. His stride said he enjoyed it. He paused near Ava's row. He looked at her. Then he looked away. Then he looked back. Ava pulled out her inhaler. She took a puff. Then she reached into her backpack for a charging cable. Her movements were ordinary, necessary, innocent. A woman in the row behind stiffened. She leaned toward the aisle. She whispered to another flight attendant. Nora could not hear the words, but she saw the attendant's face change. The attendant approached Nora. Her voice was low. "That girl. Someone said she has something." "Something?" Nora asked. "Like a weapon, or something suspicious." Nora's chest tightened. "She has an inhaler and a phone charger." "I'm just telling you what I heard." The attendant walked away quickly. She did not want responsibility. She only wanted to pass the burden. Darren appeared. His presence was sudden, heavy. He moved beside Nora and looked at Ava. "Problem?" "No," Nora said. "I heard there might be." His voice was smooth, official. "I need to check." "Check what?" Nora felt anger rise. She pushed it down. "She's a kid with a book. Safety is safety." Darren stepped past her. His tone dismissed her. "Step aside, I've got this." Chapter 4. The Public Lesson. Darren stopped beside Ava's seat. He stood too close. His shadow fell across her book. "Miss, I need you to put that away." Ava looked up. Her earbuds were out. "Put what away?" "Your bag. I need to see inside it." Confusion crossed her face. "Why?" "Standard security check." Darren's smile was thin. "Nothing to worry about, if you cooperate." Ava glanced around. Other passengers were watching now. Their eyes were sharp with curiosity. She felt her cheeks grow hot. "What did I do?" she asked. "I didn't say you did anything." Darren's voice stayed calm, friendly, but his eyes were not. I'm asking you to show me your bag. Ava unzipped her backpack slowly. Her hands were steady. She pulled out her inhaler, her phone, her charger, a water bottle, a notebook. This is it. Stand up, please. What? Ava's voice cracked slightly. Stand up. Darren's tone sharpened. Let's not make this difficult. Nora stepped forward. Darren, she's complying. There's no need. Nora! He cut her off. I've got this. Ava stood. Her face was tight. She was trying to hold her dignity together, but the cabin had become a courtroom. Everyone was watching. Everyone was deciding. Empty the bag completely, Darren said. Ava tipped her backpack. A pen fell out. A pack of gum. A folded piece of paper. Nothing dangerous, nothing unusual, nothing that justified this moment. A man across the aisle nodded. Better safe than sorry. Ava heard him. Her eyes found his. Something in her expression broke Nora's heart. It was the look of a child learning the world would not be fair. What am I accused of? Ava's voice was quiet, measured. Too adult for 16. Darren's posture shifted. The question had offended him. Uncooperative attitude, that's what. Chapter 5. Click of metal. The plane was at cruising altitude. The seatbelt sign was off, but tension hung in the cabin. Passengers whispered. Ava sat rigid in her seat. Her hands were folded. Her eyes were down. Darren conferred with another crew member near the galley. Nora watched him gesture. She saw his mouth shape words she could not hear, but she knew the story he was building. He returned to Ava. Miss, I need you to come with me. Where? Ava's voice was small now. To the back. We need to have a conversation. About what? Her hands gripped the armrests. I didn't do anything wrong. You refused to cooperate. Darren's tone was patient, condescending. You got defensive when I asked simple questions. I answered everything. Ava's breath was quick. I showed you my bag. Your attitude is the problem. He reached for her arm. Let's go. Don't touch me. Ava pulled back. Her voice rose. Fear made it loud. Darren's face changed. That's it. You're refusing a lawful instruction. I'm not refusing anything. Tears edged into Ava's voice. I just want to know what I did. Darren pulled handcuffs from his belt. The metal gleamed under the cabin lights. Passengers gasped. Someone pulled out a phone. Cameras aimed. Give me your hands, Darren said. Ava's eyes went wide. What? No, please. Hands, now. Ava's breath caught. She looked around for help. No one moved, no one spoke. They watched, they recorded, but they did not intervene. The cuffs clicked shut around her wrists. The sound was small, final. Ava's face went blank. She was trying not to cry, trying not to break in front of everyone. Nora felt something snap inside her. Not rage. Rage was hot. This was cold, clear. Darren, he turned. Stay out of this, Nora. I need your badge number. His smile returned. But it was different now. Dangerous. You really want to do this? Badge number, Nora repeated. Her voice was steady. She barely recognized it. Chapter 6. The Witness. Darren walked Ava toward the rear galley. The girl moved stiffly. The cuffs made her stumble. Passengers stared. Some looked away. Most did not. Nora followed. Darren turned. Return to service. I'm a witness, Nora said. Your crew, do your job. This is my job. She met his eyes. Passenger safety. Passenger dignity. Darren's smile was thin. Don't make me write you up. Write me up then. Nora's chest was tight, but her voice stayed calm. I'm not leaving her. He stepped closer, his cologne mixed with sweat now. Think about your pension, Nora. Think about your career. You really want to throw it away for some kid you don't even know? Nora felt the weight of his words. 34 years. 6 months to retirement. Everything she had worked for. Everything she had endured. It could all disappear. She thought of Ava's wrists, the click of metal, the shame in the girl's eyes. "I'll take that risk," Nora said. Darren's face darkened. He walked away. Nora heard him mutter something. She did not catch the words, but she caught the tone. It was a promise, a threat. She returned to the aisle. She served drinks. She offered snacks. She smiled at passengers. But her mind was a ledger now. Times, names, seat numbers, phrases. Darren claimed Ava was uncooperative at 10:47 a.m. He handcuffed her at 10:52 a.m. The seatbelt sign was off. No emergency existed. No protocol required restraints. An older woman caught Nora's eye. She was Asian, maybe 70. Her face was kind, sad. "I saw what happened." Nora's breath caught. "Thank you." "Evelyn Chen, seat 18B. The woman's voice was quiet. "If you need a witness, I'll speak." Nora felt tears press behind her eyes. She blinked them back. "I might." Evelyn nodded. She squeezed Nora's hand once. Then she returned to her book. But something had shifted. Nora was not alone anymore. She slipped a small notepad into her apron pocket. She began to write. Chapter 7. The Quiet Bargain. Nora found Ava in the rear galley. The girl sat on a fold-down seat. The cuffs were still on. Her shoulders curved inward. She was trying to make herself small, invisible. "Hey," Nora said softly. Ava looked up. Her eyes were red, dry. She had fought the tears and won. "I didn't do anything wrong." "I know." Nora knelt beside her. "I saw everything. Then why didn't you stop him?" The question was not accusatory, just tired. Nora's throat tightened. "I tried. I'm sorry I didn't try harder." Ava's jaw clenched. "Everyone just watched. Like I was a show." "I know." Nora pulled a bottle of water from the galley fridge. She opened it. "Here." Ava's hands were cuffed in front. She took the bottle awkwardly. She drank. The water seemed to ground her. "What happens now?" Ava asked. "I don't know." Nora sat beside her. "But I'm documenting everything. Times, words, witnesses." "Why?" Ava's voice was hollow. "You think anyone will care?" "They will if we make them." Nora's voice was firm. "Labels don't survive truth when truth is documented." Ava looked at her. Really looked. "You could get in trouble." "Yes." "Why would you do that?" Nora's chest tightened. "Because someone has to." Footsteps approached. Ethan Caldwell appeared in the doorway. He was the first officer. Young. White, uncomfortable. He looked at Ava's cuffs. His face tightened. "Is she okay?" he asked. "No," Nora said. "She's not." Ethan hesitated. He opened his mouth, closed it. His eyes met Nora's. She saw conflict there. Guilt. Maybe shame. "I should—" He gestured vaguely. "I should get back." "Ethan," Nora said. His name stopped him. "You saw this, didn't you?" He froze. His silence was an answer. "If you saw it," Nora said quietly, "you carry it." Ethan walked away, but his steps were slower, heavier, as if his conscience had gained weight. Chapter 8. Landing and the Choice. The captain's voice crackled over the intercom. "Flight attendants, prepare for landing." Nora felt the descent in her stomach. The cabin grew quieter. Passengers gathered their belongings. The flight was ending. But the situation was not. Darren moved through the aisle. He checked seatbelts. He closed overhead bins. He looked calm, professional, as if nothing had happened. Near the cockpit, he made an announcement. His voice carried. Ladies and gentlemen, when we land, please remain seated. Authorities will board to address a security matter. This is standard procedure. Ava's face went pale. Authorities? Nora's heart sank. Darren was escalating. He was turning this into a public arrest, making Ava an example. He's trying to scare you, Nora said. Don't let him. I am scared. Ava's voice broke. I'm terrified. I know. Nora squeezed her hand. But you're not alone. The wheels touched down. The plane shuddered. Applause scattered through the cabin. Passengers unbuckled. They reached for their bags. They were ready to forget. Nora made a choice. She stood beside Ava. She walked with her into the jet bridge. Cameras were still recording. Phones were still raised. Nora placed herself visibly in every frame. She would not let this girl walk into humiliation alone. Darren hissed as they passed. You're making this worse. Nora stopped. She turned. Her voice was low, certain. No, Darren. You are. The jet bridge was bright, cold. Airport security waited at the door. Their faces were unreadable. Nora felt her career hanging by a thread, but she did not look away. She stood beside Ava. She held the girl's elbow gently, and she prepared to witness whatever came next. Continue 21-6. Orchestrated narrative continuation adhering to comprehensive stylistic guidelines. The user has replied with continue, so I need to generate Act 2, chapters 9-16. Now, I need to follow all the strict guidelines. Each chapter must be 350-500 words, third-person limited POV, past tense max, 20 words per sentence, max 5 sentences per paragraph, 85% visual, 10% auditory, 5% other senses. Dialogue should be 60-70% of total text. Each chapter needs opening hook, conflict beat, turning point, resolution beat, cliffhanger. Must use the mandatory repetitive formulas throughout. Follow the emotional rhythm and structure progression. Track the antagonist presence. Every 2,500 words. No similes with like or as. Name emotions directly. 70% of the time. Let me generate Act 2 now. Chapters 9-16. Act 2, Chapter 9, The Corridor of Control. The airport corridor stretched ahead. White walls, hard floors, fluorescent lights that made everything look sterile. Clinical. Ava walked between two security officers. Her wrists were finally free. Red marks circled where the cuffs had been. Nora followed close behind. Her flight bag was heavy on her shoulder. She kept her eyes on Ava. She would not lose sight of her. Lena Hart appeared from a side door. She was the gate. Supervisor. 41. Competent. Ambitious. Her smile was too bright for the situation. Let's take this somewhere private, Lena said. Her voice was cheerful, controlled. No need to make a scene. A scene already happened, Nora said. Lena's smile tightened. I understand emotions are high, but we can resolve this quietly. Quietly means hidden, Nora said. Hidden means forgotten. Ava's chin lifted. She looked at Lena directly. I'm not going anywhere private. Lena blinked. She had expected compliance. Miss, this is for your benefit. We want to protect your privacy. My privacy? Ava's voice was sharp. You cuffed me in front of 100 people. Where was my privacy then? The silence stretched. Lena's face flushed. She glanced at the security officers. They shifted uncomfortably. Ethan Caldwell appeared at the end of the corridor. He was still in his pilot's uniform. His face was pale. He watched from a distance. His hands were in his pockets. He looked torn. Nora caught his eye. Ethan. He flinched. I wanted to see if she was okay. She's not, Nora said, but you can help. Ethan's jaw worked. He took a step forward, then stopped. He was calculating, weighing his career against his conscience. The math was not easy. Lena moved closer to Nora. Her voice dropped. Let's be smart about this, for everyone's sake. Smart means honest, Nora said. Private is where truth goes to die. Lena's smile vanished. Her eyes were hard now. Have it your way. Chapter 10. A Story Gets Written. They were moved to a small airport office. Gray carpet, a desk, 4 chairs, a window overlooking the tarmac. Ava sat with her hands folded. Nora stood beside her. Darren entered with a tablet. He was calm. Ready. He had spent the walk preparing his narrative. Let's go over what happened, he said. His tone was professional. For the record. Good, Nora said. I'd like that on the record, too. Darren's eyes flicked to her. You'll get your turn. He began. His words were careful, polished. The passenger displayed aggressive body language during boarding. She refused to comply with simple safety requests. When approached, she became verbally combative. Ava's breath caught. That's not true. Please don't interrupt, Darren said smoothly. The passenger's escalating behavior posed a potential threat to other passengers and crew. Restraints were necessary to ensure safety. Nora felt anger rise. She pushed it down. What specific safety request did she refuse? Darren paused. Excuse me? You said she refused safety requests. Which ones? Nora's voice was calm. Precise. Name them. The pause was long. Darren's eyes narrowed. She was asked to show the contents of her bag. That's not a safety request, Nora said. That's a search. What prompted the search? A passenger reported suspicious behavior. What behavior specifically? Nora asked. Darren's jaw tightened. I don't have to justify my professional judgment to you. To an investigator you will. Nora pulled out her notepad. I documented the timeline. You approached her at 10:43. She complied immediately. You escalated at 10:47 when she asked why. She never refused. She asked questions. Ava was staring at Nora. Her eyes were wide, grateful. Lena shifted in her seat. Nora, let's not turn this into an interrogation. It already is one, Nora said. I'm just making sure the right person is being questioned. The door opened. Evelyn Chen stepped inside. She was wearing a cardigan, carrying her purse. Her face was serene but determined. I'm here to give a statement, she said. Her voice was steady. I saw everything. Darren's confidence cracked, just slightly, but Nora saw it, and she knew Ava did too. Chapter 11. The report button. Ethan sat in the crew break room. His hands were shaking. The coffee beside him was untouched, cold. His tablet was open. The incident reporting interface glowed on the screen. The cursor blinked in the empty text field. Accusing him. He told himself he was not responsible. He had been in the cockpit. He had not handcuffed anyone. He had just watched. Just witnessed. That was not the same as participating, but his memory would not cooperate. Ava's voice asking, What did I do? Darren's tone shifting from friendly to punitive. The cuffs appearing. The girl's face going blank with shock. Ethan's throat tightened. He had children. 2 daughters. 8 and 11. If someone cuffed them on a plane for no reason, he would want witnesses. He would want someone to speak. He started typing. Then stopped. Deleted it. Started again. The door opened. Nora appeared. She looked exhausted. Her uniform was wrinkled. Her eyes were sharp. You're still here, she said. I'm filing a report, Ethan said. Then, quieter. I'm trying to. Nora sat across from him. She did not smile. She did not comfort him. What's stopping you? My career? My family? He gestured helplessly. Everything. What does your conscience cost? Nora asked. Ethan's hands tightened on the tablet. That's not fair. No, Nora agreed. It's not. But neither is what happened to that girl. You saw it. And if you saw it, you carry it. Ethan looked at the screen. The cursor blinked. Waiting. He thought of his daughters. Of Ava's face. of the man he wanted to be versus the man he was afraid of becoming. His fingers moved. He typed. At approximately 10:47 a.m., Security Liaison Darren Pike approached Passenger Johnson without clear justification. Passenger complied with all requests. Escalation appeared unwarranted. He kept typing. Details, times, observations. His hand was steadier now. When he finished, he stared at the submit button. It glowed green. Innocent. But pressing it would mark him. Label him. Difficult. Not a team player. Nora's voice was quiet. If you saw it, you carry it. Ethan pressed submit. The screen confirmed. Report saved. The weight in his chest did, not lift. But it changed. Became something he could live with. Chapter 12. The call that changes the air. Ava held the phone with both hands. Her fingers trembled as she dialed. The phone rang once, twice. Her heart was pounding. Ava. Her father's voice was warm, alert. Sweetheart, what's wrong? She opened her mouth. No words came, just a sob she had been holding for hours. Baby, talk to me. Malcolm's voice stayed calm, but she heard the worry underneath. Are you hurt? No. Yes, I don't know. Ava took a breath. Dad, they handcuffed me, on the plane, in front of everyone. The silence was long. When Malcolm spoke again, his voice was different, harder. Tell me exactly what happened. Ava told him. The words came in fragments, broken pieces. The search, the accusations, the metal clicking around her wrists, the stares, the phones recording her humiliation. I didn't do anything, she whispered. I swear, I didn't do anything wrong. I know you didn't. Malcolm's voice was certain. Absolute. I believe you. Do you hear me? I believe you. Ava's chest loosened. She had not realized how much she needed to hear that. They're saying I was uncooperative. They're making it sound like my fault. It's not your fault. Malcolm was moving now. She heard rustling. Footsteps. Where are you now? Airport office. There's a woman here, Nora. She's a flight attendant. She's been helping me. Put her on. Ava handed the phone to Nora. My dad wants to talk to you. Nora took it. This is Nora Whitaker. Thank you for staying with my daughter. Malcolm's voice was controlled, professional, but underneath it was a father's fear. What's the situation? They're trying to classify this as passenger misconduct, Nora said. They want it buried, resolved quietly. How quietly? Vouchers. Apologies that mean nothing. No accountability. Malcolm was silent. I'm coming. Don't let them pressure her into signing anything. I won't. And Ms. Whitaker? His voice softened. Thank you. For seeing her. For not looking away. Nora's throat tightened. She shouldn't have to thank anyone for basic decency. No, Malcolm agreed. But we do anyway. I'll be there in 40 minutes. The call ended. Ava looked at Nora. He's coming. Good. Nora sat beside her, but something in her expression was worried. Ava, when your father arrives, things will change. What do you mean? He's a CEO. That means power, influence. Nora's voice was gentle. The airline will see opportunity. They'll try to manage this differently. Ava's stomach tightened. Differently how? They'll try to make it about money, about silence, about making him happy so this goes away. Ava felt tears rise. Please don't make this about money. She was not sure if she was talking to her father or to the universe. Chapter 13. Optics and Offers. Lena returned with a man in a gray suit. He was mid-50s, tan, teeth too white. He introduced himself as Mark Brennan, from Airline Corporate Relations. First, let me apologize. His voice was smooth, practiced. This situation should never have happened. We value all our passengers. Ava said nothing. Nora watched him carefully. Mark sat down. He folded his hands. We want to make this right. We're prepared to offer full refunds, travel vouchers, complimentary upgrades for a year. No, Ava said. Mark blinked. I'm sorry? I don't want vouchers. Ava's voice was steady. I want to know why I was handcuffed. There was a misunderstanding. That's not an answer. Ava leaned forward. What did I do that justified restraints? Mark's smile wavered. Security protocols can sometimes seem... I asked a question, Ava interrupted. What did I do? The silence stretched. Mark glanced at Lena. She looked away. Nora spoke quietly. She's asking for written documentation, a detailed incident report, names of everyone involved. Mark's face tightened. We can provide a summary of events. Not a summary, Nora said. A report, official, detailed, on record. That's not standard procedure for resolved incidents. This isn't resolved. Nora pulled out her notepad. I have times, witness statements, policy violations. If you want this resolved, start with transparency. Mark's smile vanished. He leaned back, studied Nora. Your crew, correct? Yes. And you understand the importance of supporting your company? Nora felt ice in her stomach. I understand the importance of supporting what's right. Mark's eyes were cold now. Think carefully about your position, your seniority, your retirement benefits. Those things matter. Ava's breath caught. Are you threatening her? Not at all. Mark's smile returned, hollow. Just reminding her that everyone has something to lose. Nora met his eyes. She did not look away. So does your airline, if this becomes public. Mark stood. I'll give you some time to reconsider. Smart people make smart choices. He left. Lena followed. Her face was troubled. She looked back once at Nora, but she kept walking. Ava was shaking. He threatened you. Yes, Nora said. Because of me. No. Nora's voice was firm. Because of him. This is not your fault. Remember that. But Nora's hands were trembling as she wrote in her notepad. She had just crossed a line, and there was no going back. Chapter 14. The CEO in the waiting area, Malcolm Johnson, arrived 43 minutes later. He wore a suit, no tie. His face was composed, but his eyes were wrecked. Ava stood when she saw him. Dad. He crossed the room in 3 strides. He pulled her into his arms. I'm here. You're okay. I've got you. Ava clung to him. She had been strong for hours. Now she could break. She sobbed into his shoulder. He held her tight. His hand smoothed her hair. I'm sorry, she whispered. Don't. His voice was rough. Don't you dare apologize. You did nothing wrong. Darren entered the room. His posture changed the instant. He saw Malcolm. His spine straightened. His face smoothed into professional courtesy. Mr. Johnson. Darren extended his hand. I'm Darren Pike, Airline Security Liaison. Malcolm did not take his hand. You handcuffed my daughter. Darren's hand dropped. It was a security matter. What security matter? Malcolm's voice was calm. Deadly calm. What did she do? She displayed suspicious behavior. What behavior specifically? Darren's face flushed. She refused to comply. With what? Malcolm stepped forward. He was not tall, but he filled the space. Name the request she refused. She became verbally aggressive. That's not an answer. Malcolm's eyes were hard. You put metal on my child's wrists. In public. You humiliated her. For what? The silence hung heavy. Darren tried to regroup. Mr. Johnson, I understand you're upset, but this is standard procedure. Then your standard is broken. Evelyn Chen spoke from her chair. Her voice was soft, clear. That's not what happened. Everyone turned. Darren's face went pale. I'm sorry? I said that's not what happened. Evelyn stood. I sat 3 rows back. I watched everything. The girl was polite, cooperative. You escalated when she asked questions. You handcuffed her because she wouldn't be silent. Nora felt something shift in the room. Authority was being contradicted, challenged, out loud. Darren tried to smile. Ma'am, you may have misunderstood. I'm 67 years old. Evelyn's voice was steel wrapped in silk. I understand what I saw. And I saw prejudice dressed as protocol. Malcolm looked at Nora. You're the flight attendant who called me? Yes. Thank you. His voice cracked slightly, then steadied. Will you give a statement? Already written. Nora held up her notepad. Times, quotes, witness names, everything. Darren's confidence was draining visibly, like water from a cracked glass. Chapter 15. Midpoint, Nora's Hidden Power. Lena returned with Mark and another corporate representative. The room was crowded now, tense, everyone standing. Mr. Johnson, Mark began, we'd like to offer— I don't want offers. Malcolm's tone was flat. I want an official review, formal, on record. Mark hesitated. These situations are typically handled internally. Not this one. Malcolm pulled out his phone. I have 20,000 followers on LinkedIn, 15,000 on Twitter. The press would be very interested in this story. Lena's face went white. Mr. Johnson, surely we can resolve this. You can. Malcolm's voice was certain. By doing what's right, not what's convenient. Nora stepped forward. I'm requesting this incident be escalated per company policy, Section 7.4.2, Employee Witness Rights. Mark stared at her. You memorized the policy manual? No. Nora's voice was steady. I survived by knowing it better than people who use it against me. Section 7.4.2 states any crew member witnessing potential misconduct can request formal review. I'm making that request, in writing. She pulled out a prepared form. Signed, dated, detailed. Mark's jaw clenched. This could take weeks. Then it takes weeks. Nora met his eyes. Truth doesn't expire. Ethan appeared in the doorway. He held a tablet. I submitted an incident report 30 minutes ago. It's in the system. Time-stamped. Locked. Darren's face went red. You what? I filed what I saw. Ethan's voice was quiet, but certain. You approached Passenger Johnson without clear cause. You escalated when she asked questions. You used restraints without justification. It's all documented. Ava was staring at them. Nora, Ethan, Evelyn, Malcolm. People who barely knew her. People who were choosing to stand. Why? She whispered. Nora looked at her. Because silence is how systems stay broken. Lena's hands were shaking. She looked at Mark, at Darren, at the witnesses forming a wall. We need to schedule a formal review. Mark's voice was ice. This is a mistake. Maybe. Lena's voice was small. But it's the right one. She pulled out her phone. She made the call. And Nora felt something she had not felt in years. Not victory. Not even hope. Just the small, fierce satisfaction of making power uncomfortable. Chapter 16. False Victory. Quiet Knife. Nora returned to her apartment at 9 p.m. Her uniform was rumpled. Her feet ached. She dropped her bag by the door. Exhaustion hit her in waves. Her phone buzzed. An email. Subject line. Temporary leave. Pending investigation. She opened it. The words were polite, professional, devastating. Due to the ongoing incident review, you are placed on temporary administrative leave. This is standard procedure. Please return your badge and access credentials by end of business tomorrow. Nora sat heavily on her couch. Her breath was tight. Standard procedure. The phrase tasted poisonous. She had documented everything. She had followed protocol. She had been the perfect witness. And now she was being removed, silenced, punished for speaking. Her phone rang. It was Ava. "Nora?" The girl's voice was shaking. "I got an email." "What did it say?" "That they're reviewing my behavior, that my actions contributed to the situation, that I—" Ava's voice broke. "That I should have remained calm and compliant." Nora felt rage bloom. "They're rewriting it, making you responsible." "My scholarship." Ava was crying now. "If this goes on my record, if they say I was violent or dangerous, I'll lose everything." "They won't." Nora's voice was firm, but her hands were shaking. "We have witnesses. We have documentation. But you're on leave. And Ethan—" Ava took a breath. "He called me. He said his supervisor wants to meet. About his judgment. They're pressuring him." Nora closed her eyes. The system was not just defending itself. It was attacking, isolating them, picking them off one by one. Another email arrived. This one from her union representative. "Nora, I heard. Call me. But I have to be honest, fighting this could cost you your pension. Think carefully about what you can afford to lose." Nora stared at the screen. 34 years of service, 6 months from retirement, her pension, her security, everything she had worked for. She thought of Ava's wrists, the click of metal, the cabin's silence. She forwarded the leave notice to her lawyer. She forwarded it to a journalist she knew. She forwarded it to a labor rights organization. Then she sat in her dark apartment, alone, and she let herself feel the fear. The system was preparing to erase her, and she had no idea if truth would be enough to survive. Continue? Continue. 2109 Orchestrated Final Narrative Act with meticulous structural requirements. 14 SS, the user has replied with continue, which means I should now generate Act 3, Chapters 1724, following all the strict guidelines from the document. After completing Act 3, I should output end instead of continue. Let me ensure I follow all the requirements. Chapters 1724, Python 8 chapters. Each chapter, 350 to 500 words. Third-person limited POV, past tense, max 20 words per sentence, max 5 sentences per paragraph. No similes with like or as, 85% visual, 10% auditory, 5% other senses. Dialogue 60 to 70% of text. Each chapter needs opening hook, conflict beat, turning point, resolution beat, cliffhanger. Chapter 24 must include the epilogue within the 350-500 word limit. Final line must be 12 or 10 words and convey emotional closure or moral certainty. Must use the repetitive emotional formulas throughout. Must track minor conflicts. Every 0.500 words antagonist presence every 0.2500 words. Major revelation between 20-25%, already happened in Act 2. Emotional climax between 85 to 95%, should be in late Act 3. Act 3 should cover 2-17. Nora faces union pressure, but chooses moral security. Trait not sites. Ava deals with viral backlash and public court. Chage 19. Darren's counterattack with corporate support. Trait 20. Darkest moment. Witnesses nearly silenced, but Evelyn arrives. Chage 21. Review begins. Stories collide. 22. Ava speaks her truth. 23. Recordings confirm truth. Darren exposed. Reforms demanded. 24. Epilogue. New policies. Nora returns. Ava boards confidently. Moral equilibrium. I'll meticulously craft each chapter, tracking precise narrative and technical constraints while maintaining emotional depth and structural integrity. Act 3, Chapter 17. The Cost of Standing. Nora met her union representative in a coffee shop. The place was half empty. Gray morning light filtered through the windows. Her coffee sat untouched. Jerry Morris was 53. Tired eyes, kind voice. He had negotiated contracts for 20 years. He knew how systems worked, how they protected themselves. "They're going to fight this," he said. His voice was gentle. "Hard." "I know." Nora's hands were folded on the table. "Steady." "I'm not backing down." Jerry sighed. "Nora, listen. To me, you're 6 months from retirement. Your pension is solid, protected. If you push this, they'll find reasons. They'll dig into your record. They'll make it expensive to keep you." "Let them dig." Nora's voice was calm. "I've done my job well for 34 years. "That won't matter." Jerry leaned forward. "This isn't about performance, it's about comfort. You made them uncomfortable. That's the real sin." Nora felt the weight of his words. She had known this truth her whole career. Comfort mattered more than justice. Silence mattered more than truth. Survival meant learning when to look away. She thought of Ava, the girl's wrists, the shame in her eyes, the way she had tried to make herself small. "I can't," Nora whispered. "Can't what?" "Look away, not this time." Nora's throat was tight. "I've looked away 1,000 times. I've swallowed insults. I've smiled through disrespect. I've survived by being quiet. But if I'm quiet now, what was it all for?" Jerry's face softened. "Your security. Your peace. Peace bought with someone else's pain isn't peace." Nora met his eyes. "It's just silence dressed up prettier." Jerry was quiet for a long moment. Then he pulled out a folder. "If you're doing this, do it right. Here are the names of 3 employment lawyers. Good ones. They'll work with the union." Nora took the folder. Her hands shook slightly. "Thank you." "Don't thank me yet." Jerry's voice was sad. "This is going to cost you. Maybe everything." "I know." Nora stood. "But some costs are worth paying." She walked out into the cold morning. Her chest was tight. She was terrified. But she was also certain. She had chosen a different kind of security. Moral security. The only kind no corporation could grant or remove. She pulled out her phone. She called the lawyer. And she prepared to fight. Chapter 18. The lonely middle Ava sat on her bed. Her laptop glowed in the dim room. The video was everywhere now. Someone had posted it. Shaky footage. Her face, the handcuffs, Darren's voice saying, "Give me your hands." The comments scrolled endlessly. Some were supportive. Many were not. Most were certain without knowing anything. She must have done something. Why didn't she just comply? This is what happens when you have an attitude. Her mother knocked softly. "Ava, honey, turn it off." "I can't." Ava's voice was hollow. "Everyone's talking about me, deciding who I am, what I did. They don't even know me." Her mother sat beside her. "Then don't let them define you." "How?" Ava felt tears burn. "It's everywhere. People at school saw it. Teachers saw it. The scholarship committee probably saw it. They're going to think I'm trouble." "You're not trouble." Her mother's voice was firm. "You're brave." "I'm not brave. I'm scared." Ava closed the laptop. "I'm scared they'll win. That this will follow me forever. That every time someone searches my name, this is what they'll find." Her phone rang. Nora's name appeared on the screen. Ava answered. "How are you holding up?" Nora asked. "I'm not." Ava's voice cracked. "Everyone's talking about me, judging me. It's too loud." "I know." Nora's voice was steady, grounding. "But their noise doesn't make it true. Facts are facts. Documentation is documentation. Let them talk. We have something stronger than volume." "What?" "Truth." Nora paused. "The review is in 3 days. They'll want you to speak, to tell what happened. Can you do that?" Ava felt her stomach tighten. "I don't know." "You don't have to decide now." Nora's voice was gentle. But Ava, your voice matters most when it's hardest to use. Remember that. The call ended. Ava sat in the dark. Her hands were shaking, but something in her was shifting. Fear was still there, but so was something else. Anger, determination, the refusal to be rewritten. Her father knocked on the door. "Can I come in?" "Yes." Malcolm sat beside her. He did not speak immediately. He just sat. Present. Solid. "I'm scared to talk at the review," Ava whispered. "I know." Malcolm's voice was soft. "But dignity is a practice, not a mood. You practice it even when you're terrified." Ava looked at him. "What if I mess up?" "Then you mess up." Malcolm squeezed her hand. "But you'll mess up while telling your truth. That's worth more than perfect silence." Ava nodded slowly. She was not ready, but she would try. Chapter 19. Darren's counterattack. Orchestrated narrative escalation with antagonist counteroffensive and mounting character tension. I need to continue with Chapter 19, showing Darren's counterattack with corporate support. This should show him trying to portray Nora as disruptive and Ava as a threat, with Lena struggling with her conscience, and Ethan being pressured. I need to maintain the word count between 350-500 and ensure strong cliffhanger ending. Darren sat in a conference room with Mark Brennan and airline legal counsel. The woman was mid-40s, sharp suit, sharper eyes. Her name was Patricia Moss. "Walk me through your version again," Patricia said. "It's not a version." Darren's voice was confident. "It's what happened. The passenger was displaying suspicious behavior, multiple indicators, body language, furtive movements. When questioned, she became aggressive." "Aggressive how?" Patricia asked. "Raised voice, defensive posture, refusal to comply." "She asked questions," Patricia said flatly. "That's not aggression." Darren's jaw tightened. "I've been doing this work for 15 years. I know a threat when I see one." "Or maybe you know a black teenager when you see one." Patricia's voice was ice. "And you assumed threat because that's your pattern." Mark intervened. "Patricia, we're on the same team here." "Are we?" Patricia looked at him. "Because I'm trying to minimize liability, and this situation reeks of racial profiling, which means lawsuits, which means my job gets very hard." Darren leaned forward. "The problem isn't me. It's Nora, Whitaker. She's the one stirring this up. She's been difficult for years. Ask anyone. She doesn't respect authority. She questions procedures. She makes everything about race." Lena shifted uncomfortably. She had been silent until now. "That's not fair." "Excuse me?" Darren stared at her. "Nora has never been difficult." Lena's voice was quiet. "She's been professional, competent. She just doesn't smile when people disrespect her." "See?" Darren gestured. "This is what I'm talking about. Everyone's making this political. It was a security matter. Period." Patricia studied him. "You handcuffed a 16-year-old girl for asking questions, on a plane, with cameras recording. That's not security. That's bad judgment." "I did my job." "No." Patricia's voice was sharp. "You created a PR nightmare, and now we have to clean it up." She turned to Mark. "We need to distance from Pike, quietly, reassign him, pending the review." Darren stood. "You're throwing me under the bus?" "We're managing risk," Mark said. His voice was smooth, cold. "You'll be on paid leave, just like Whitaker." "That's not the same." Darren's face was red. "She's the problem, not me. She turned this into a circus. She brought in witnesses. She documented everything like she was building a case." "She was building a case," Patricia said, "because you gave her one. Now sit down and let us figure out how to salvage this." Darren sat, but his eyes were hard, calculating. "What about the first officer? Caldwell?" Mark nodded. "He's meeting with his supervisor tomorrow. We'll make it clear his career depends on his Cooperation. Lena's stomach turned. You're going to threaten him? We're going to remind him of his responsibilities. Mark's smile was thin. Everyone has something to lose, including him. Lena felt sick. She had spent her career protecting the company's image, but she had never asked what that image was hiding. Now she knew, and the knowledge sat in her chest like a stone. This is wrong, she whispered. This is business, Mark said. Chapter 20. Darkest Moment. The door almost closes. The review was scheduled for 10 a.m. Nora arrived at 9:30. The conference room was sterile. White walls, long table, too many empty chairs. She sat alone. Her hands were folded. Her uniform was crisp. She had been told she was not required to attend. The word required had been emphasized. A polite way of saying she was unwelcome. Ava arrived with Malcolm. Her face was pale. Her hands trembled. She sat beside Nora. I don't know if I can do this. You can, Nora's voice was steady. Just tell the truth, that's all. What if they don't believe me? Then they don't, Nora squeezed her hand. But you'll know you spoke it. Ethan arrived late. His face was ashen. He looked at Nora, then looked away. Guilt was written in every line of his body. Ethan? Nora's voice was quiet. He swallowed hard. They asked me to reconsider my statement. They said my judgment might have been affected by stress. They offered me a transfer, a promotion, if I just... Retract it, Nora finished. Ethan nodded. He could not meet her eyes. I have kids, a mortgage. If I lose this job... Malcolm's jaw clenched. He saw the system at work. Isolate, pressure, fatigue. Let truth die from exhaustion. I understand, Nora said quietly. Do what you need to do. Ethan's eyes filled. I'm sorry. The door opened. Mark entered with Patricia and 2 other corporate representatives. Darren was not present. Lena followed behind. She looked miserable. Thank you all for coming, Mark said. His voice was polished, professional. Let's keep this brief and productive. We want to resolve this matter fairly and move forward. Nora felt the translation. They wanted this buried, quick, clean, with minimal damage. Mr. Johnson, Mark turned to Malcolm. We've prepared a comprehensive settlement package, full restitution, policy review, sensitivity training for all staff, and a personal apology from our CEO. No, Ava said. Everyone turned. Her voice had been quiet, but certain. No? Mark's smile tightened. I don't want a settlement. Ava's breath was shallow. I want the truth on record. I want accountability, real accountability, not training that gets ignored in a month. Mark's expression shifted. Miss Johnson, I understand you're upset, but sometimes resolution is better than prolonged conflict. For who? Ava's voice was stronger now. For you? Or for the next person this happens to? The door opened. Evelyn Chen walked in. She wore a blue dress, pearl earrings. She carried her purse and a folder. Her face was serene. I'm here to testify, she said. Her voice was firm. I was not invited, but I'm here anyway. Mark stood. Ma'am, this is a closed review. Then open it. Evelyn set her folder on the table. I am a witness. I have a right to speak, unless you'd prefer to explain in court why you excluded testimony. The room was silent. Nora felt something shift. The door they had tried to close was being forced back open. Chapter 21, The Room Where Stories Collide. An investigator was brought in. His name was Robert Chen. No relation to Evelyn. He was neutral, external, hired to provide impartiality that the airline hoped would favor them. Robert opened his laptop. Let's establish a timeline. Mr. Pike, please describe the initial interaction. Darren was on speakerphone. His voice was calm, rehearsed. The passenger boarded at 8:47 a.m. I observed nervous behavior, furtive glances, tension in her posture. At 10:43, I approached to conduct a safety check. What specific behavior prompted that? Robert asked. Her overall demeanor. She appeared anxious. Another passenger expressed concern about items in her bag. What items? Darren hesitated. The passenger mentioned seeing something metallic. An inhaler, Nora said quietly. Robert looked at her. You're Nora Whitaker, senior, flight attendant. Yes. You witnessed the interaction? I witnessed everything. Nora pulled out her notepad. At 10:43, Mr. Pike approached Miss Johnson. She was reading. Calm. He asked to see her bag. She complied immediately. He asked her to empty it. She complied. At 10:47, she asked what she was being accused of. That's when his tone changed. Changed how? Robert asked. From professional to punitive. Nora's voice was steady. He told her she was being uncooperative. She wasn't. She was asking questions. There's a difference. Darren's voice came through the speaker. She was defensive, combative. The cockpit recording would show otherwise, Ethan said quietly. Everyone turned. Ethan was pale, but his jaw was set. The audio captures cabin conversations, timestamps, exact words. I reviewed it before I filed my report. Patricia leaned forward. The recordings support Miss Johnson's account? Yes, Ethan said. She asked, what did I do? Mr. Pike responded, uncooperative attitude, that's what. There was no prior refusal, no aggression, just a question he didn't want to answer. Darren's voice was sharp. That's your interpretation. It's on tape, Ethan interrupted. Word for word. Malcolm watched his daughter. Ava was shaking. She was listening to adults argue over her humanity, her worth, her right to ask questions without being restrained. I'd like to speak, Ava said. Robert nodded. Please. Ava stood. Her hands were trembling, but her voice was clear. I want to tell you what happened, not what people think happened, what actually happened. Chapter 22. The truth spoken out loud. Ava's throat was dry. Every eye in the room was on her. She felt exposed, vulnerable. But she would not be silent. Not anymore. I boarded the plane at 8:50, she said. I found my seat. I put my bag in the overhead bin. I sat down and took out my book. That's all I did. Her voice was steady, measured. A woman smiled at me. Nora. She made me feel welcome, like I belonged there. Then Mr. Pike started watching me. I didn't know why, I hadn't done anything, but his eyes stayed on me. She took a breath. When we were on the runway, I used my inhaler. I have asthma. Then I looked for my phone charger. A woman behind me gasped. She whispered to a flight attendant. I don't know what she said, but suddenly Mr. Pike was standing over me. Ava's hands clenched. He asked to see my bag. I said okay. He asked me to empty it. I did. I showed him everything, my inhaler, my phone, my charger, a water bottle, a notebook. He looked at it all. Then he said it wasn't enough. Her voice broke slightly, then steadied. I asked him what I did wrong. That's when everything changed. His face got hard. He said I was being uncooperative. I wasn't. I was just asking. But he didn't want questions. He wanted silence. Nora felt her chest tighten. The girl's voice was carrying the weight of every time someone had told her she was too much. Too loud. Too questioning. He told me to stand up, Ava continued. He told me to come with him. I asked where. He said the back. I asked why. He said because he told me to. Then he grabbed my arm. I pulled back. Not hard, just, I didn't want to be grabbed. Ava's eyes were wet now. That's when he pulled out the handcuffs. He said I was refusing a lawful order. I wasn't refusing. I was scared. I asked him, please don't. But he put them on me anyway. She held up her wrists. The marks were gone. But the memory was not. Everyone stared. Everyone recorded. I tried not to cry. I tried to keep my face calm, because I knew if I cried, they'd say I was emotional. If I got angry, they'd say I was aggressive. So I just sat there, with metal on my wrists, trying not to exist too loudly. Darren's voice came through the speaker. She's exaggerating. I'm not. Ava's voice was sharp now. You handcuffed me, in front of 100 people. You made me feel dangerous for asking questions. You treated me like a criminal for existing in a space you didn't think I belonged in. The room was silent. Evelyn Chen wiped her eyes. Lena's face was stricken. Even Mark looked uncomfortable. I didn't do anything wrong, Ava said. Her voice was breaking, but she kept going. I just wanted to visit my grandmother. I just wanted to fly home, and you made me feel like I didn't have the right to ask why. She sat down. Her father put his arm around her. She leaned into him, and finally let the tears come. Chapter 23. Poetic Justice Without Cruelty. Robert reviewed the recordings for 20 minutes. The room was silent. Waiting. Nora watched his face. She could not read it. Finally, he looked up. The cabin audio confirms Miss Whitaker's timeline. Passenger Johnson asked, "What did I do?" at 10:47. Mr. Pike responded, "Uncooperative attitude, that's what." There is no record of prior refusal or aggression. Darren tried to speak. The recording doesn't show body language. It shows words, Robert interrupted. And your words escalated the situation, not hers. Patricia pulled up security footage. The gate camera captured the boarding. Miss Johnson walked on calmly, made no suspicious movements. No one except Mr. Pike showed concern about her behavior. Mark's face was tight. Perhaps Mr. Pike's judgment was affected by stress, or by bias, Malcolm said quietly. The room went still. Mark stared at him. Mr. Johnson, that's a serious accusation. Is it? Malcolm's voice was calm, level. My daughter complied with every request. She asked questions politely. She showed no aggression, yet she was restrained publicly, humiliated, treated as dangerous. For what? Explain to me what justifies that without involving her race. Mark opened his mouth, closed it. Nothing came. Patricia spoke carefully. The incident does not reflect our values or our training standards. We will be taking immediate action. What action? Nora asked. Patricia looked at her. Mr. Pike is suspended pending formal disciplinary review. His conduct violated multiple protocols. Miss Whitaker, you will be reinstated immediately with full back pay and a formal apology in your personnel file. Nora's breath caught. She had not expected vindication. Not really. She had expected to lose everything. Ethan Caldwell, Patricia continued. Your report was professional and accurate. There will be no adverse action against you. Ethan's shoulders sagged with relief. And Miss Johnson, Patricia's voice softened. On behalf of the airline, I apologize. What happened to you was wrong, unjustifiable. We failed you. Ava nodded. She could not speak. Malcolm leaned forward. Apologies are insufficient. I want structural changes, updated restraint protocols, independent review board for security incidents, mandatory bias training with real accountability, and public reporting on diversity and complaint patterns. Mark flinched. That's extensive. That's necessary, Malcolm said. Or I take this public, with the recordings, with the witnesses, with everything. Patricia looked at Mark. He nodded slowly, reluctantly. We'll implement the changes. Lena spoke for the first time. Her voice was hoarse. I'm sorry, I tried to bury this. I prioritized optics over truth. That was wrong. Nora looked at her, saw genuine remorse. Thank you for saying that. Darren's voice came through the speaker one last time. I did what I thought was right. No, Nora said quietly. You did what was easy. There's a difference. The call disconnected. The review was over. Justice had arrived. Not as revenge, not as cruelty, but as accountability made real. Chapter 24. Epilogue, the kind of safety that counts. 3 weeks later, the airline announced policy changes, clear restraint protocols, independent incident review, training centered on dignity as part of safety. Nora read the press release. It was not perfect, but it was progress. She returned to duty on a Tuesday morning. The crew room felt different, smaller, or maybe she felt bigger. She checked her uniform in the mirror. Every crease perfect. But now she knew her worth was not measured by her silence. A junior flight attendant approached her. Miss Whitaker, I just wanted to say thank you for what you did. It matters to all of us. Nora felt her throat tighten. Don't thank me. Just remember it, when your turn comes. The flight was routine. Passengers boarded. She offered her practiced smile. But it was different now. It was hers, not theirs. Ava boarded another flight 2 days later, a school trip to Boston. She hesitated at the aircraft door. Her chest was tight. Memories of metal, of stairs, of shame. Then she breathed. Steady, deliberate. She stepped forward. She belonged in any space she entered. No one could take that from her. A flight attendant greeted her warmly. Welcome aboard. Ava smiled. Thank you. She found her seat, opened her book. Let the world settle around her. Fear was still there. But so was strength. She had spoken her truth. She had survived. She was whole. Ethan continued flying with different discipline now, not just procedural, moral. He thought of Nora's words often. If you saw it, you carry it. He would carry it well. Darren was reassigned to a ground position. No public humiliation, just consequence. His career continued, but his authority did not. Nora watched passengers settle into their seats. A mother with a baby, an elderly couple holding hands, 2 teenagers laughing, people trusting systems to keep them safe. She thought about what safety really meant. Not just protocols, not just procedures, but dignity, respect, the refusal to look away when someone's humanity was being tested. She felt peace, not the peace of victory, the peace of integrity kept intact. Justice often begins as one person refusing to look away.